Hi all, this is Simona Rich. I will try to record it fast because now it's Saturday, so neighbors are all outside because the weather is good and they are using lawnmowers and other devices, so it's most likely that there will be noise in this video, but it's beyond my control, so I will record this video anyway. So in this video I would like to share a spiritual lesson about how to just have worry-free life, and it's actually very easy, but what needs to be done is not to listen to the mind, but to listen to life, which is within, which people call God, or it can also be called intuition, higher intuition, or living through the heart, living by listening with heart, listening to the Christ within. There are many ways to call this, but basically you ignore the mind, which is limited, which is fear-based. It really doesn't know what it's talking about, because all its wisdom is only the collection of your experiences, and even those experiences, they were colored by the mind, so they may not even be the way that they actually were in reality. So the mind is very limited, it has no wisdom, it uses very limited number of experiences to make the decisions, and also it doesn't have any information about the future, so all its actions, all its plans are based on guesswork, whilst life or God obviously is what created everything. So if you take action based on that, by listening to your heart, Christ within, God, or however you want to call it, then your actions will be right. And this also ties in with the fact that we are not these bodies. Everything is already, the storyline is written. So because of this, we can detach from the bodies, because we're not the bodies, and just watch the play of life. And then it becomes very interesting when you really know you're not the body. When you really know this, then life becomes just a play, and you're actually interested what will happen, but you're not planning anything, you're not worrying, because you know everything that is supposed to happen will happen, so you can totally relax. And then when you're supposed to do something, there will be energy that you will feel arising, and then some action will follow. So there is absolutely no need to listen to the mind, what it's planning, what its fears are, and take action from that, but just to totally ignore it. And this is a good spiritual practice, not to listen to the mind. It's not telling the truth, though most people have relationship with it for obviously years, and they just believe everything it tells. And it's the mind that's responsible for all the problems in the world, all the unhappiness in the world. And even if you don't listen to the self-talk, even if something unfortunate happens to you, you will not be sad about it, you will not be depressed. Like I told in my Mercury retrograde recent video article, that the way that my journey was back to the land recently, it was terrible, but I was actually laughing. I wasn't even upset. I was laughing at what was happening, because I know this is just the story. This is the I'm not the body. The body's experiencing different things, and it's actually interesting to watch all these things. So if you don't listen to the mind, all your problems will be finished, and maybe yes, you will experience something bad, but you will just remain a watcher. And this reminds me that before spiritual practices, when I was a teenager and I almost drowned, I actually thought that I myself am drowning. But after I practiced, when I did spiritual practices, and after that in Rishikesh, I almost drowned in the river Ganga. And that time I was the watcher of the body, struggling to survive, but I wasn't the body. I knew that there was a big separation between what was happening to the body and me as the watcher. So that makes life very easy when you can make the separation, when you know that you're not the body. And I should again mention, I know I speak about this teacher a lot, but Muji teaches this a lot, and I find his pointings much more direct to those of Eckhart Tolle. So for liberation, this is the person to go to. He will not play with the ego. He will directly destroy it if you listen to what he says. And he's many times he guides people into meditation to find what people actually are. And it's just, I now keep listening to his videos, because although I know I'm not the body, it's important to get established in that watcher. And if you do, then the body, more like not the body is neutral. The mind, which pretends to be you, receives no food from you in the form of attention, which gives it energy, which it feeds on. And if you don't give attention this way, then eventually the mind becomes weaker, and that personality itself disintegrates. And we are not even personalities. We are supposed to experience this life as God in the body form, just seeing life, just enjoying life. But because we have identified with these bodies, we have identified with our thoughts and the mind itself, then it created this ego, and it controls us, and it makes life miserable and very limited. But if through spiritual practices we manage to starve this personality and the mind will actually, it will no longer cling to us as our identity, and we would be able to use the mind, but it will be a servant and not the master, and the personality will be no more. And what is personality? Personality is our conditioning, our beliefs, and what these make life limited. We are not these, but if we totally identify with our life story, with our culture, with the conditioning, with limited beliefs, then we become limited beings. We don't even understand our divinity. But once we starve personality by not identifying with these things, by not giving them attention to any kind of beliefs or thoughts, then we realize that we are not this conditioning, and we then become our true selves, which we always were, but we just had our identity mixed because of identification. So we become as we always were, without any conditioning, and we can live in total freedom, and we can live a spontaneous life without any plans, but just enjoying what comes. And this is really the kingdom of heaven. This is living in heaven, because we are not worried about anything. We just take as what life presents to us, and because we don't limit life, it actually makes our life into a divine example, into the example of divine power. It guides us, it protects us, and this life becomes rich. And you may not be financially very well off, but your life will be rich. Your life will be rich with experiences. You will also help other people to find this truth within, and the most important thing, that once the body is getting frail, or if it gets sick and if it dies, that doesn't affect you because you're not the body. And it's very difficult, although the steps are easy, it's very, very difficult to leave personality behind. And I'm not telling I did that, because I didn't. I'm still starving my personality, but this is so important, because if we stay stuck in personality, then death becomes a scary thing, and it will give birth to a desire to be born again, and then we will again take birth. But if we manage to starve the personality and we live as we really are, as God experiencing itself in material existence, then this is the most fulfilling life there is. And actually what Muji says is that if you actually want to be born, once you are realized, you will be able to do so, and you will be awakened since birth. And some divine beings, they will not choose to get born again, and some can choose actually, but then you will never be ignorant, you will never be born ignorant. But if you fail to achieve the state of enlightenment, then you will be born as ignorant as when you were before awakening in this life. So for me, this is enough of motivation to always watch myself, not to identify with thoughts. And if I find myself identifying with some thought, I come out of it and then I observe it. So this is just, although I'm already awakened because I know I'm not the body, the personality grip is so strong because the whole world thinks they are doing things, they are the bodies or minds, and so it's difficult to disidentify from personality, let it starve so that it totally disappears and you are who you always were, divine, experiencing itself in material form. So this is the most important work for humanity, especially now when we are experiencing so many restrictions, and either people now trust the mind and their governments, which are becoming more and more grasping, or they trust the source. And even in these limited times, if you trust the source, then you will have such an amazing existence without any fear, because even if the governments control everything, who is responsible for them existing is God. So God is higher than the governments. So because of this, if we trust in this highest source, if we become totally that by shedding everything that's not us, then we still can live a life that is beautiful and fulfilling without any fear, without any worries, and we will always be provided for if we trust in that which created us, which we actually are. So if we trust in that, we will be provided for. And sometimes when people get awakened, there will be a period of time when they will not want to do anything, or it could be that after some time of awakening there will come a period of time where you will be totally passive. This is very usual. It happened to Eckhart Tolle, who said that he sat on a benches in London doing nothing, and this can last for years, but you will always be provided for. You will, like Eckhart Tolle said, that people would give him food. It's the divine providing for the child of itself. And the same happened to Muji. He also experienced the time where he was passive, he didn't do any job, but he was provided for. So that's the power of the divine. Either you trust the governments or the mind, which is the road to total unhappiness and disempowerment, or you trust the divine, and and you will find that the more you disidentify from the mind, the more you starve the personality, which is just conditioning and beliefs and your life story. But you live in the now, you observe what's happening to you, what the body is doing, how thoughts are coming. This will give you much more confirmation that you're not them, and you just stay in the watcher until you realize you are that, and the body is not you and the mind is not you. And then you have so much power because you are no longer controlled by the mind, but you're in touch with that which created the world. And then who can harm you once this happens? So I think now the lawnmower is, I don't know if you hear it, but it's been on for a very long time, and now it started again. It's kind of like a distraction again, to distract me from talking what's very important. And that happens so often. When I have something important to say, then distractions come. But this is the duality of the world. If there is good, there will always be bad, and through obstacles we grow, and through obstacles we make progress. So that's just how it is. So I hope that this was empowering to you. I'm going to finish this video now. Have a lovely day. Take care.